Hi, how are you?
Hi, I'm good and you?
Good.
Good.
So this is our second session, so I just want to go over the same things that we went over last time,
Mm-hmm.
that everything we say is confidential, except if you were talking about harming yourself or harming others. Those would be things that I would need to tell somebody. So, but other than that, everything we say is confidential. So I just want to go over that again with you, just so it's only our second session. So I wanted to briefly go.
Okay, I understand.
So last time we talked, you were talking about your dad, and you had mentioned that he passed away when you were young.
Mm-hmm.
He was murdered,
Yes.
and that affected you throughout childhood and followed you into your adulthood.
Yes.
And we talked a little bit about relationships and how you felt, almost abandoned.
Mm-hmm.
And we came to a conclusion that that was affecting the relationships you have now, because you're scared to get close to anybody.
Yes.
So since we visited that, what did you think about that, and what are your feelings towards that now that you've had time to reflect and maybe process some of that?
I actually thought that the session went very well, and I've just been trying to work on becoming a little bit more committed
Mm-hmm.
to friendships,
Mm-hmm.
relationships, whatever it may be. I still feel that I need to talk about it until I get to a certain point where I'm comfortable
Mm-hmm.
with knowing that the person is not going to abandon me.
Mm-hmm.
Because in the last session, as you mentioned, the word abandonment, I never thought about it that way.
Mm-hmm.
But I really started thinking about that, and I think that's why I have such a close relationship with my sons. Like, I keep them under kind of a lock and key. But, I have to let them go at some point. But, just from my childhood to my adulthood, I just fear for my kids.
Mm-hmm. That's understandable. As moms, we're very, I'm a mom too, so we're very protective over our children, and they're the love of our life. So that's normal for you to feel that connection and want to keep them close. But you're right, there is going to be a point where you are going to have to let them kind of leave the nest and be out on their own. And what's important to me is that you're able to handle that when that happens. And that you'll be able to let them reach the independence that they need to become adults. You mentioned friendships and being a little bit more committed to things, maybe going out with some girlfriends, or maybe going into just talking to your girlfriends a little bit more about things and putting yourself out there more, which is kind of what we had talked about last time.
Yes.
That you didn't put yourself out there because you were so scared of being hurt. So we're starting with girlfriends and friends. That's great, so that's really good. How's that been going?
It's been going well. I'm in a group called Umbrella Sisters, and we meet like every month, and we just share different life experiences. And actually, we had a new member join last Sunday, and she has the same issues that I have, commitment and trust issues. So it was kind of interesting to see her sitting there holding back and not really wanting to share, because as she was sitting there, I was watching myself.
Yeah.
So I'm doing better. It's going to be a step-by-step basis.
And that's really all you can do is, take every day at a time. Don't look at, moving in with somebody tomorrow and getting married tomorrow.
No.
Those steps are, every day is a new step. So every day you have challenges and struggles that you're going to face with, letting yourself be loved and, putting yourself out there. But I think that you're taking really good steps. The support group is great.
Yes.
Besides our sessions together, that support group kind of reiterates that, so you have somebody else to talk to,
Right.
and you can relate to them, and that's a good system to have. There may be days where you're not feeling as great as you were the day before, and having that support system and somebody to lean on to say, hey, I'm not feeling so great today, is really good. You said that you were watching yourself with
Mhm.
a girl that a woman that you've been close to, you've gotten a little close to.
Yes.
That must have been seeing yourself in her. Did that spark anything in you? Did you like, wow? Like how did
It
that?
did. When she shared her story was more of her mother
Mhm.
abandoning her.
Mhm.
Her mother is still here, but her mother has issues, and she was raised by her aunt.
Mhm.
So she has a problem with getting close to women.
Mhm.
So just to hear her speak, I was like, that sounds like me, but it's just reversed. I have a problem with getting close to men.
Mhm.
She has a problem with getting close to women. So I was just like, you never realize how many people go through the same feeling of abandonment until you really sit down and talk, because you feel different.
Mhm.
You feel like, there's no one else out there like me. Nobody else
Right.
is dealing with this issue, but it's so many people.
That
Yeah.
that deal with that.
Mhm.
And I like how you mentioned, like, you can't. There, you said there's so many people who feel like me or have this issue, but you never realize it. And I think part of that is because when you're dealing with an issue like that or a struggle, I wouldn't even say it was an issue. I think it's a struggle more for you.
Mm-hmm.
When you're dealing with that struggle, putting yourself out there
Mm-hmm.
to let somebody know, hey,
Yeah.
this is what I'm going through.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't do that, you'll never know, because they don't reciprocate back to you and
Absolutely.
say, hey, I'm feeling the same way.
Mm-hmm.
So that support group, I think, is going to be great for you. I'm happy that you joined that, and that you have the people there. That's a great step in the right direction. And then, you take things a little bit at a time. You like your sons. How old are they?
Mm-hmm. 22 and 24.
Okay. Are they in
Mhm.
college?
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
How's that feeling for you? They live at home?
They live at home.
Okay.
Yeah.
They have girlfriends?
Yes.
How do you feel about that?
At first it was a challenge
Mhm.
for me to deal with and accept,
Mhm.
but it's okay. It's fine.
That's good.
Yeah.
So you're not when you say you're scared to let them go, you
Mhm.
are letting them go.
Yeah, it's okay.
So you're on your way.
Mhm.
So I'm happy to hear that you're not like yelling at their girlfriends
No.
or like being nasty or disrespectful, because that could be an issue and create
Mhm.
issues with your sons
Right.
too. But
I am a little distant though.
okay.
Sometimes I'm close, like I'll have conversation, but I am a little distant.
With your son's
They're-
girlfriend.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Have you ever thought about maybe everybody going out to dinner? Do you guys ever do that?
We've done that.
You've done that?
Mm-hmm.
That's good. And how did that go?
It went well. It's more so me.
Yeah.
I have to say it's me. It's really not them. I just want the best for them.
Yeah.
And when I
So
see
does
something,
everybody.
it's just
So
like
does every mom. Every
Yeah.
mom thinks that way. I would be the same way with my son. So, but I think that you're doing well. If you're in the support group,
Mhm.
you're letting your sons go and be
Mhm.
adults.
Mhm.
You're not holding them back. They still live with you,
Yes.
but they might not have the means to live by themselves yet,
Not right
and
now.
that's good.
Mhm.
That's good for you to let them stay there as long as they're doing what they're supposed to be doing,
Mhm.
and if that's what you believe in, that's your view. So that's really good. And the next step would be starting to talk with
Mhm.
the opposite sex,
Mhm.
and start mingling a little bit, and
Mhm.
nothing like right away. Let's go move in together tomorrow. Just maybe go on a few dates here and there, kind of see how that goes. And what do you think about that?
I actually went on a date Saturday.
Oh.
Actually, I have a lot of male friends.
Mm-hmm.
A lot. And a lot of them that would like to be in a relationship with me. But it's me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, a lot of male friends.
Mm-hmm.
But I just choose to, I don't know. I have a male friend that I'm very close with. But I'm just afraid to commit.
Mm-hmm.
So
So
it's me.
Is he somebody that you would view as you could see as a
Yes.
potential person that you would be involved
Yes.
with romantically?
I have such trust issues and abandonment
Mm-hmm.
issues that
Have you
I'm afraid.
talked to him about those issues?
No.
No.
Mm-mm.
how long have you known? Like how close are you with him? Like how do you think he would feel if you told him about some things that you're going through?
Well, we kind of had a brief conversation Sunday about my dad and, you know, how he was killed and the type of lifestyle that he lived. So we just briefly discussed that. I didn't go into it. But he has an idea, but he doesn't really have an idea. And to answer the question, I've known him 3 years.
Okay, that's a decent amount of time. Now, was he receptive when you told him?
Very receptive.
I
think he felt, I'm sorry.
It's okay, go ahead.
I think he felt bad for me because when I told him how old I was when my dad was killed, because I started the conversation, and every time I talk about this, I kind of get emotional, so.
It's okay.
I started the conversation saying, you know, sometimes I wonder if my life would have been different if I had my father in my life. So I said, did I say that right? Do you understand what I'm saying? And he was like, absolutely. Your life probably would have been different in a lot of ways because you would have had that male figure around. And then we just went on to the story of how he was killed and why he was killed. And we didn't really touch on the commitment part with me, but I think he kind of like
you got an idea.
Read, between the lines.
Well, you're doing such good things. The support group, your son's girlfriends, and talking to this guy about things that you're opening yourself up.
I am,
and that is great. You know, the only way that you're ever gonna know if somebody, know that you can be with somebody and be loved is if you open yourself up. If you remain closed, nobody can come in.
Right.
So you are doing that. That's great. With him, he was receptive and he seemed caring and he was empathetic and compassionate, right?
Yes.
So next time you hang out, maybe you can touch on it again, or if he, tell him exactly how you feel. Like, if he asks you if you ever see us together, does he ask you that ever?
He does.
So maybe say to him, I do like you. I have, some trust issues, and maybe start with that and see how he is. I mean, you can always tell,
right?
By their face and the way that they're talking to you,
right?
Their intention. And you've known him for 3 years. What do you think about that?
It's good. I really, really, I like him. I love him. I'm not going to say that I don't. I love him. It's just me getting in the way. 3 years is great. I would like for it to be further, but again,
not ready yet.
I need to be, but I'm not.
So then maybe not go, if you're not ready yet, to go and tell him about some of the trust issues and the reasons why you're not committed or something like that. Maybe go back to the support group, talk about it there a little bit more. We can continue to talk about it in sessions, and we'll get you there eventually. The support group, I think, would be really good for you to reach out to your girlfriend and say, hey, I'm going through this today, and what do you think? And she might be like, I'm going through the same thing, and you guys can kind of relate to each other.
Absolutely. I also, after the first session, I talked to my siblings, because out of 6 of us, there's only 1 married. So it's bigger than just me.
Right.
I feel.
It affected your whole family.
Yeah.
And traumas like that, like events like that, that's traumatic. Those are emotional events that, you need to process and, continue. And it doesn't affect just one person, it affects everybody.
Right.
So, I mean, that you talking about it and the support group and talking to your siblings about it, seeing where they are, that you're creating, your support and your foundation for that, and by being able to connect with other people. And if you start there, I think that when you start opening up to your foundation of support, and you're comfortable doing that and you're open, then you can go up and start the next step.
Okay.
So I think you're doing good, and I'm happy that you reached out to your family and talked a little bit about it.
Yes. I think it was important because you never know, really what you're dealing with until you express them, like you said
Mhm.
earlier. And you never know how many other people are dealing with the same issues, like we talked about